Hello, Jesse's Angels. I am so happy that you were able to come on and either watch live or recorded. I am in my casual Scentsy gear today because I've been working on a fundraiser all day, which is so fun, but it takes time to implement everything, go through all the packets, all that fun stuff. So today is September 18th, Monday. We do a call every third Monday of the month, Zoom, so people can come on live if you want to, if you can. And then I can also record it and then email it to you like you either receive in your email and I also post it on Facebook, so in our group page. So you're probably getting the recording on one of those avenues. So I hope this training is helpful. Okay, so today, this month, I just got back from Superstar Director Summit. So I am so excited. There's so much to share. I'm going to be sharing bits and pieces throughout the next couple trainings or few trainings. But I was deciding what should I talk about right now to kind of help you guys get this fall season going. Keep it going on the pace that you guys are all on. You're doing amazing. But be more intentional. You hear that a lot probably from myself, your other leaders. But this was the conversation of the Superstar Director Summit all week. And if you attended Reunion or you heard about Reunion, our owner and CEO, Heidi Thompson, her keynote speech was about a growth mindset. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that the brain and human behavior is like my jam. That is my thing. That's what I love about this business so much, is figuring out why people do this, why they don't, what their hangups are, and trying to help everybody work through them. And so the growth mindset is something I've been studying for a lot of years, and so I was so happy when Heidi introduced it to the whole company. Okay, so what is a growth mindset? So there's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So I'm going to tell you some examples between the two, and we're going to go through and just kind of figure out just on your own where you think you stand, okay? And then we're going to get into how you can implement this into your business. So a fixed mindset, this is some of the kind of thoughts that somebody with a fixed mindset has. Training calls are so boring. I never learn anything from them. A growth mindset would say, during training calls, I can always find an idea that will help me somehow. So you're always looking for a nugget. You may be going through an entire training and go, I already know that. I know I've done that before. But you know that there's something that is valuable. And even if it's something that's not new, it's something you could use and even be reminded to do that you haven't done in a long time. So you're still knowing that there's things that can be useful. So you still tap into these calls and to the meetings and all the other trainings that Scentsy provides. This consultant is so needy. She wants help with everything every day. So if you're a sponsor, have you thought of it that way before? Hey, Miss Liz.
Hey.
Okay, so what I'm doing just to kind of recap what I'm talking about is the difference between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, and explaining different mind thoughts of what somebody with a fixed mindset opposed to a growth mindset. The last example I said was, this consultant is needy. She wants help every day. That's a fixed mindset. The growth mindset would be, I'm going to go ahead and mute you because the
Oh, here, I'll mute myself.
Okay, just the backlash of myself is kind of distorting everything. Okay. So the growth mindset thing that somebody would say is, this consultant is very interested. I need to find out ways to help her be more self-sufficient. So instead of thinking, gosh, this person needs help every day, being excited about this person is actually seeking assistance and figuring out a way that we can direct them to the right tools so they can be more, not as needy in our minds, but as more efficient, so they're more independent consultants instead of dependent consultants. Another thought would be about half my team can't recruit anyone. Now, instead of thinking that way, as a fixed mindset, a growth mindset would say, what does my team need to know, feel, or do to recruit someone this month? I'm just going to do, there's only 4 more examples, and then we're going to move on to how we can put this into your business. I have a new girl who is a rock star. She doesn't need anything from me. That's a fixed mindset. A growth mindset would say, I need to ensure this consultant feels sufficiently challenged and appreciated. So even though this consultant is independent and rocking her business, instead of us just saying, oh, I'm just going to let her fly and do her thing, really make sure that we tap in to see what tools that this person needs to be even more efficient and even just keep rocking that business. Because one thing that I've noticed in my experience when I saw that, those 2 different analogies of the mindset, is I think when we see people that take off easily on their own, it's almost like a relief. Like, oh, thank goodness they figured it out. They're independent. They don't really need a lot from me. And instead of diving in and connecting even more, we tend to again, let them fly so fast on their own that they're actually flying from what we call ignorance on fire. They don't know what they're doing. It's just working. And that was me when I first started. When I first started, I was ignorance on fire. I was just go, 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 go. I was going so fast, I didn't even know what was working and why it was working. So as a sponsor or director or upline of whoever you are, it's up to us to kind of be able to help direct and navigate specific actions and ask them, what are the things that you've been doing? And us with experience will be able to redirect them to see what actions they can duplicate in order to get that result again from our own experience. Instead of just saying, whoo, they're on fire, they're good, I need to focus on these people over here that are struggling, So, and so that fire doesn't burn out, because of it's all ignorance. So we're basically tapping into what they're doing right, because they may have no clue what they're doing right. Okay, let's see. I will never be as good as she is. I think everybody has had some type of a thought process of comparison in their journey with Scentsy or in life in general. Maybe not exactly saying I'll never be as good as she is, but maybe you've thought, I'm not as good right now, or I just don't have that skill. That's just not my personality, things like that. So that is the fixed mindset thought process. A growth mindset would be, I should ask her to be my mentor so I can learn from her. I wonder what value I can bring to her so she will say yes. So knowing that when you see somebody that is just rocking their business and growing in some way, or have a skill or a tool or an attribute that you aspire to have, or at this point in your life you're wishing, or you think, man, if I can only have that skill or that result, knowing that you can learn from them, and knowing that you have something to provide and to feed to them as well. Knowing that they may seem like they have it all together because everything seems to be working, but know that you have something to add to their life in some way. It may not be business-wise, but you may be able to add to their life by sharing your organizational system, by making a food plan at home, because you may not have figured out, or they may not have figured out how to rock their business as well as keep their home in order. So a growth mindset knows that there's always room for everyone to grow. Whether you think that you're the one that has less ability to contribute, you have contribution to give, and you're willing to find it. Okay, my team My team ruined our team meeting. They just refused to cooperate. So obviously that's a fixed mindset, right? So a growth mindset is what changes can I make to my team meetings to make them more engaging. So instead of saying, man, nobody asked any questions, nobody showed up, man, they don't want to learn, thinking that, okay, there's something that maybe I can do that can add to it and making it more, appealing for people to actually show up, or more, appealing or interesting for them to want to contribute and participate. Always knowing that there's room for growth. And then the final example is my downline hates doing parties, and there's nothing that I can do to change that. Okay, so when we hear a team member flat out saying, I don't want to do parties, or I don't like to do parties, yes, Miss Liz.
I don't want to interrupt. I'm listening. I just have to help Troy with dinner, so I'm just gonna freeze my shot. You know how you just put the picture up there?
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. You're so sweet. Oh, you just mute. Oh, okay. All right. Hi, Troy, by the way. Okay. So thank you. That was sweet of you, Liz. Okay. So we always have our team members that tell us flat out, I don't want to do a party. You may be that person that says, I don't want to do parties. There's always reasons behind it. And so no matter what those reasons are, sometimes, again, the team members flat out says, I don't want to do a party, and we want to respect that request. But it's a different, if we look at it of why do they not want to do parties, that there's a reason behind it, right? So a growth mindset, how can I use this consultant's interests and passions to engage her in parties? So going back to why doesn't she want to do a party? Or why don't you want to do a party? Ask yourself that. What is it that's stopping you? Write a list down and say, I don't like parties because it takes too much time, or whatever in your mind that's inhibiting you and making that thought not something that you want to participate in and even look into learning more about. Knowing those things is what is going to help you have more of a growth mindset towards that specific area in your business. Hi, Tammy. Okay, so now we have ideas of what a fixed mindset is. You may have heard some thoughts that you're like, wow, that's something I've thought before, and it's okay. Now, here's the thing. We all have certain parts of our brain and parts of our life and certain circumstances that we have more of a fixed mindset in, and some we have different areas that we have more of a growth mindset in. Hi, Koi. So it's okay to find yourself in certain areas, oh, wow, I'm more fixed in this area. But the cool thing about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset is the fixed mindset can be changed with effort, with intention, with actual intention, saying, why do I feel this way? And really trying to dissect, what is stopping you from changing your mindset or your belief in that area. The cool part of a growth mindset is that it's very hard to change, because once you have a growth mindset in a certain area, the growth mindset understands that there's always room, there's always flexibility, there's always opportunity. So changing that mindset to a fixed one is almost impossible, because it's actually look at my hands as an example. Say this is your brain as as a growth mindset. Changing it into a fixed mindset is almost like asking you to cram your brain and tighten it. Well, that's really hard to do, right? But to grow your mind, it's your brain is like a sponge, so it's easier to grow and continue to expand. That's just the way our brains work. So that's the exciting news about if you have fixed mindset in any area, maybe you have a fixed mindset period at this point in your business, in your life. But the exciting news is that you can always grow into a growing mindset. And you don't have to worry about becoming more fixed as much. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, Jess, people say the older they get, the more stubborn they are in their ways. Well, yes, that is a true statement. That does happen. That is when you stop learning, when you stop exposing yourself to the growth, then you become more fixed because there's nothing that's stimulating the growth, if that makes sense. So you tend to stop in that area and you're fixed in that thought process. But it doesn't mean that you don't have room to grow it if you intentionally do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let me see here. Okay, so hi, Lauren. Okay, so we're talking about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. How can we make this be a benefit to your life and your business, especially, obviously? Now, I'm not going to say especially because honestly, Scentsy itself, the cycle of the business, is a contribution to your personal life. If you're growing in your business, you're growing personally. It's just a natural cycle. Okay, so I'm going to share with you guys a video that I'm really excited about that I saw at Superstar Director Summit. And the cool thing about Zoom is I get to share my screen and show a video. So if you you might want to take some notes, and this is being recorded. So if you want to go back later and watch it again, I'll also show you in the actual share mode of the share screen, the website, if you want to go back later. So let's go ahead and do that. This is one of the, it's this one. This is what we were, Heidi actually showed us at Superstar Director Summit. All right.
If you operate in the world of sports or education, you've most likely heard of the term growth mindset. It's a concept that's sweeping the world and changing and improving the way that people learn. This powerful idea has been pushed forward by Stanford professor and best-selling author Carol Dweck.
For decades, I've been studying why some people succeed while people who are equally talented do not. And over the years, I've discovered that people's mindsets play a crucial role in this process.
These mindsets are really important when it comes to learning. Her work has uncovered two ways of thinking about skill and development. Some people have what's called a fixed mindset. They believe that skills and intelligence are set and you either have them or you don't. That some people are just naturally good at things while others are not. In short, they believe that you are not in control of your abilities. Other people have what's called a growth mindset, and they believe that skills and intelligence are grown and developed. So people who are good at something are good because they built that ability, and people who aren't are not good because they haven't done the work. In short, they believe that you are in control of your abilities. Really, the core idea here is people with a fixed mindset believe that skills are born. People with a growth mindset believe that skills are built. People with a fixed mindset believe that you can't or don't have to learn and grow. And people with a growth mindset do believe in their capacity to learn and grow. Dweck's work shows that mindsets have a major influence on people's ability to learn, and that people who utilize this growth mindset tend to learn, grow, and achieve more over time than people with a fixed.
Where's Jessica? Just having you guys watch a video. That's all it is.
Growth mindset really creates a solid foundation for great learning. And because of its power, companies, sports teams, and schools from all over the world are implementing this into their culture. Over the years, we've worked with a ton of amazing groups to help instill this within their culture. We're talking Fortune 500 companies, lots of colleges, lots of high schools, and even a few prisons who are working to build growth mindset into their reentry program. What I'm trying to say is this is bigger than one study or one TED Talk. This is a powerful concept that's helping lots of different people in lots of different places. Now, the reason it's so important and powerful is it is the foundation for learning. And if you understand this, no matter what you build on that foundation, it will be more powerful. But to really implement and run with this concept, we need to zoom in and look at the nuts and the bolts of it. We need to talk about what it actually is and how it actually works. Through years of work, Dweck and her team have uncovered sort of the defining characteristics of the two mindsets. This table really illustrates the contrast between the two. The first big characteristic we need to talk about is belief. Again, people with this fixed mindset believe that skills are born and therefore they can't or don't have to learn. People with a growth mindset believe that skills are built, therefore they can learn. The second major characteristic is focus. People in a fixed mindset tend to focus on performance and outcomes and results. In other words, their main focus, their main concern becomes how they look, and more specifically, to not look bad. People with a growth mindset tend to focus more on the process of getting better, of learning and growing. These mindsets and these characteristics have a huge influence on our ability to learn. And now we start to see why. Let's look at like the 4 key ingredients to growth: effort, challenges, mistakes, and feedback. The research shows that when somebody is in a fixed mindset, they look at effort as a negative thing, as something that you do when you're not good enough. They also don't see the value or purpose of putting in effort. They've been shown to back down and avoid challenging situations. They get really discouraged and worked up when they make mistakes. And when somebody with a fixed mindset receives feedback from a parent, a teacher, a coach, or a friend, they get defensive, they take it personally, and they don't see the value or purpose of the feedback. So in other words, people with this fixed mindset actually avoid and shy away from these 4 key ingredients to growth. Dweck and her team have shown that when people enter a growth mindset, they look at effort as a useful thing, as an important part of the learning process. They're actually more likely to embrace challenges and persevere and work through them. They see mistakes as learning opportunities, and when they receive feedback, they actually appreciate it and use it. Now, the fascinating and important part of this table is to connect the dots between these key characteristics of the two mindsets and our actions and behaviors towards learning. Let's look at the fixed mindset side first. They actually shy away from putting in effort because they don't believe that they can change. They give up when they're met with a challenge and things get hard because they don't want to look bad. So in their mind, the challenge becomes a threat, and because they don't believe that they can change. They hate making mistakes and are discouraged by mistakes because if you're making mistakes, you're not looking good. And they don't see the value or purpose of feedback because they don't believe in their capacity to grow. So in one way or the other, every single one of these actions is a byproduct of these characteristics. And the same is true on the growth mindset side. They see the value and purpose of effort because they believe in their capacity to grow. They're more likely to take on a challenge and persevere through it because they believe that they can grow and because they're focused on the opportunity to do that. So they frame a challenge as an opportunity to get better. And by focusing on the process and believing in their capacity to grow, they're more likely to understand how important mistakes are in this process. And when they receive feedback from a parent, teacher, coach, or friend, they're more receptive to this because their focus is on getting better and because they believe that that information can help them grow and they have the capacity to do so. 2 key points with this table. First, you're not just one or the other. This is a spectrum. And in different times, on different days, in different situations, you might be in a growth, while other times you'll slip into a fix. But now that we understand how it works and we understand the characteristics, you can start to identify where you're at on the spectrum and, more specifically, the cause of that mindset. Is it our beliefs or is it our focus? Second, yes, these actions of learning are great, and they're definitely behaviors that we want. But we have to understand that they come from our mindsets. So to create a great culture for learning, it's about zooming in on beliefs and focus in creating a real growth mindset, which is one of the most important things we can do.
Okay, so this is where you can find this video from trainugly.com, and it's under growth mindset instructions. So this is the video right here. So you can also go on, you can see that there's so many different trainings on the growth mindset. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the sharing. Okay, so let me see if I have any more words. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? Tammy, you can thumbs, okay, thank you, Tammy. Okay, so after watching and listening to this video, I'm sure you were able to kind of find and distinguish where you are in your mindset in different areas. Like you said, from different circumstances, day by day, we kind of go back and forth into the fixed and the growth mindset. But the more intentional, the more educated we are on this concept, the more you can actually catch yourself, you know, and ask yourself, am I thinking more growth or am I thinking more fixed in this situation? So one thing that popped out with that video is they talked about, you know, really focusing on the joy of the process. Instead of, you know, a lot of people get really fixed on, you know, the result that, oh, I didn't make my goal this month. Oh my gosh, I didn't sponsor as many people as I wanted to this month. And they get fixated on the actual results instead of looking at the process that got you there. You know, if you weren't intentionally looking to sell $2,000 this month and sponsor 2 people, you know, how far close did you get to that goal? Instead of, you know, instead of focusing on that you didn't achieve that goal, did you get closer to that goal than if you weren't setting the goal prior? So meaning, would you have achieved anywhere near that specific PRV goal if you didn't set it to $2,000? And really focusing on, you know, the process and the achievements and the excitement of what you did do instead of what you didn't do. One quote that Heidi talked about is, we learn best when we operate at the edge of our abilities. Now, I wanted to share with you guys, some of you that have been with me for a long time know this, but some of you don't, that I'm dyslexic. So that means my brain works a little bit different than everybody else's. So sometimes I read words backwards. Sometimes my numbers and letters get kind of switched. So it takes me longer to comprehend and actually read something to really absorb the concept that I'm reading. And so it takes probably, for somebody to read a paragraph, you know, it takes me 3 times as longer. So if I were to fixate on the fact that I'm dyslexic, I could have started Scentsy and said, you know what, it takes a lot of reading, a lot of studying. You know, it's going to take me so much time to learn what everybody else is learning in such a smaller amount of time. And that could have stopped me. Instead, with a growing mindset, I looked at it as, you know what, you're going to have to work harder than the next person, Jess. But you know what? As long as you're growing and it's helping you, you know, be able to do better at reading, you know, that's the process that I want to strive for. And here's the cool thing is that over the last 6 years, my dyslexia is not as apparent as it used to be. It doesn't hold me back as much as it did before because I've been working that muscle and striving for it and letting it not be a barrier on my learning ability. So I read a lot more books more faster. I can absorb the content faster now because I'm practicing that area. I'm basically utilizing that muscle that I basically shunned away from because it was such a difficult area for me at one point in my life. So what we learn best when we operate at the edge of our abilities. So that was the edge of my abilities. And the interesting thing is I ended up being able to comprehend and learn so much more than maybe somebody that didn't have an ability, because I was so much more determined to make that time and effort that I was putting into my training be effective. And obviously, I've gotten some really good results. You know, if you look at the track and the journey that I've led with Scentsy. Okay. Now, there was a concept that I would love to share with you that when you're a sponsor in Scentsy, especially when you're a brand new sponsor, we tend to take our new team members on as like our babies. You know, just like a parent would. You know, you want to make sure that they don't go through the same scratches and boo-boos that you did. You want to give them as much help as they possibly can. And, you know, oh, I don't want them to scratch their knees like I did in this area, so let me make sure I give them the tools so that doesn't happen to them. But the interesting thing, if you notice, if you are a parent or even an aunt or an uncle or a grandma or whatever, you know, whatever you may be, a friend that has friends have kids, you notice that we tend to learn better when we do it ourselves. So there's a concept about that they've actually, there's a study that proven that watching is not as effective as doing. And I'm sure you guys have heard that before. We're all over 18 here, you know, we're all grown adults. So I'm sure you've heard the concept along your journey that doing is so much more of an effective strategy than just sitting back and watching somebody do something. So the concept is when we're a sponsor, if we're not letting our team members fly and we're not encouraging them to go out and do the actions themselves, we're almost creating an animal in a cage, like a tiger in a cage, opposed to a tiger that lives in the wilderness that is going to be going out and learning how to, you know, find its own kill, to protect itself, because it has to. And then therefore it ends up becoming more independent and not so dependent on its parents. And that's why they tend to go off and live its own life faster. But then the tiger that's raised in the cage at the zoo is they expect when the food is going to come. They don't have to kill it. It just shows up on a tray every day at a certain time. And so it doesn't have the need to actually learn how to kill and find it and protect itself from the, you know, the wildlife, because it's in a cage and protected. And so a lot of us newer sponsors, I was one of them, we tend to want to put that cage around our new team members and make sure that nobody can hurt them. They're not going to, you know, have to, you know, get food on their own, which is analogy wise would be like their information. We go, oh, let me just get it for you. Let me give you the answer, because you know what? It takes too much time for you to find it. I know where it's at. But instead, we want to look at directing our team members to tools. And if you happen to be that consultant that your sponsor or upline are doing this, I want to open up your mind to why they're doing this. So if you're calling your sponsor and they're like, okay, you can find that answer in the business references section under this, and you're thinking in your mind, well, I know you know the answer. Why don't you just tell me what it is? Why don't you just email it to me? What they're doing is they're having you fish for your own food so you can survive without them. So when you're in the wild, meaning they can't answer the phone or they can't, you know, get to you, you're going to be able to still swim or survive in the wilderness without them. So you know exactly where that food resource is or those tools to your business is without their need. So what they're doing is directing you so you could be as independent as possible instead of being dependent on them. Because the worst thing of being a consultant is having to depend on somebody else, their knowledge, and having to sit around and stop your business and wait on somebody else, right? Instead, you can rock and roll. If you are running your business at 3 a.m, you know, you can keep flowing and getting things done because you know exactly where to go and how to implement what you need to in your business. So I took some notes here that I wanted to make sure that I covered. Let's see. So, So a growth mindset in your business is definitely a work ethic. When we have more of a fixed mindset on our business, we're basically giving ourselves limitations. We're saying, I only have this much time in my day that I can put towards Scentsy because I work this much. I have to go to my kids' sports. I have to make dinner. I have to do the laundry. And basically, those are all doors that you're closing and fixating that you only have a little area, a slot for your business. So if we transform that mindset into a growth mindset, it's looking at all the areas in your day and your business that you can actually add in to all the things that you're doing. So the beauty of our business is that it's everywhere you go. It's you. You are your business. Now, each and every one of us sell the same product. So if your customer buys a Scentsy Go from you or from me, they're going to get the same exact product, right? So but the problem, or it could be a problem if you keep the fixed mindset, is that if we tell ourselves that purchasing or selling the products are only in a certain setting. So we think, okay, well, I can't do a home party because I don't have time for that. I work full time. I have kids. I've got to cook dinner. I got to do this. And we're fixating on all the reasons why we can't. Instead, we can switch that mindset to a growing mindset and say, okay, if I can't do a home party on this day, what can I do? So because I have work full time all day today, then I take the kids to soccer, then I have to cook dinner, then I have to do laundry, then I have to, I don't know, color my hair, whatever and then I also have a spouse I have to tend to, whatever that is. We can say, how can I add Scentsy into all of this? So here's an example of how we can do that. I work a full-time job. Well, let's go even further, because these are all things I've heard a million times. It's nothing, new. If you've had these thought processes, I don't want you to ever feel that you're the only one that feels this way or has thought in this process before. The cool thing is it's always thought processes that can change, and that you could always end up growing your business by just being willing to learn and listen to the different concepts. And all the examples I use are from actual consultants, from them sharing with me what their setbacks are. So one of them is my work doesn't let me brand myself. They don't let me, wear a Scentsy shirt. They don't let me, talk about Scentsy at my work. I can't bring my testers in. I can't put a warmer in my office. Those are all the things that they can't. So the fixed mindset consultant would say, well, they can't stop me from drinking from a water bottle that says Scentsy, can they? They can't stop me from writing with a pen that says Scentsy. Well, I have one of our consultants, she works from a pharmacy, so it's a very professional atmosphere. So she has to wear a lanyard with her swipe-in card. So she found a way to get a Scentsy lanyard to utilize her swipe card. So it's just tiny little subtle ways to let people know that she's a consultant. Okay, so that's the workforce. If anybody on the call has a very tight niche workforce that doesn't let you openly brand your business. So what other consultants also do is they work their business on their lunch hour. So they say, well, I can't, talk Scentsy per se at work, but people know I'm a Scentsy consultant by my lanyard, by my pen, by my mug. So on my lunch hour, I will go in the lunchroom and chat with them, or I will, take them out to lunch and say, hey, let's join me for lunch and we'll talk Scentsy. They will do their follow-up calls during their lunch break. Okay, so that's a couple examples as far as how to get past the I can't do Scentsy during work, okay? Then, oh my gosh, I have to go straight to the home, pick up my kids, take them to soccer practice. So the cool thing is that sports is probably the best way to market your business. Okay. So now they can't stop you from branding yourself. So you can change your shirt real quick, slap a Scentsy shirt on when you're going to the ballpark, wherever sports you're going to, grab your testers, your mini testers, or big testers if that's all you have, and order forms and catalogs, and just start natural conversations with the people you are around. Natural conversations. What do I mean by that? I mean, oh my gosh, you know what? Your highlights are gorgeous. I've been meaning to find a hairstylist to do highlights. What is your hairstylist's number or name or whatever? Now, they have to be genuine. People know if you're just trying to start a conversation with no real agenda. The key is to be intentional with your conversations, knowing that you are intentionally trying to start the conversation so it can move into introducing yourself, building the relationship, and then eventually introducing your business and your world to them. It may not happen on that first conversation. So we have to know that it takes time to build relationships. And sometimes they may not notice the Scentsy shirt. You may have a whole conversation for an hour with somebody and they don't pay attention. But if you're intentional, you know that every time you speak with that person, you are intentionally going to find a way to work in to share with them what you do with your business. Some of the intentional conversations are, what do you do for a living? Now, psychologically, the natural response is going to share with you what they do for a living, and then what are they going to do? They're going to ask you what you do for a living. Now, if you're truly trying to build this business, most people wouldn't be on this call and wouldn't take the time to train themselves if you're not looking to truly create some type of an income or consistent extra income in this business. So you're intentionally trying to grow. So you are going to be willing to take the time to build that relationship, right? Oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Hold on one second. There was another point I was trying to make. Where was I going with that? That's horrible. I need to take some brain memory pills or something. So let's move on. I'll remember it. So we're intentionally trying to market the conversation, feedback into what do you do for a living? Oh, I got it. See, I just had to recap myself. Okay, so it's been said that somebody that's trying, I'm glad I'm amusing, guys. Making sure you're awake. No, just kidding. Hi. So if you're trying to intentionally build your business, it's so important to think of yourself as a Scentsy consultant first, and then I also do this. So if let's say you're a nurse, okay? You're intentionally building these relationships, not for them to come and get surgery on your surgery table as a nurse, right? You're intentionally trying to build a relationship so you can introduce your Scentsy business to them, right? Of course, you'll help them if they need you as a nurse or something, but the intention for this relationship is for Scentsy. So when you introduce yourself or what you do for a living is, I'm a Scentsy consultant. I'm also a nurse on my other, in my spare time. Now, it may be your full time, what you do, but you're telling people that is who I am. That's what I love. And that's what that's what I want to share with you. And here's another reason why is because people tend to remember the first thing you tell them, not the second. So if you say I'm a nurse that's also a Scentsy consultant, they're going to think, oh, she's a nurse. Does that make sense? So it's all about transforming our verbiage and our mindset into intentional verbiage and intentional actions. Again, if you're new to Scentsy and you haven't quite interacted with new people yet and you're trying to find, oh my gosh, how do I start a conversation? It seems so easy. Watching you, Jess, you seem like you're just flowing, right? Well, it's so much easy to learn how to do what I'm doing by doing it. I will tell you hands down, when I started my business, I fumbled over my words. I thought about what I should have said after the fact. Oh, I should have asked her that. Oh, I should have said this. But it was all action. And that's what I learned from. If we just sit back and wait until we have all the right words to say and we have all the confidence in the world, you're going to be waiting a long time, right? So just like riding a bike takes practice, we have to do it constantly. Consistency, you know, they say practice makes perfect. Well, perfect practice makes perfect. So meaning, how do you make perfect practice? Intentional practice. So I'm not saying that you're not going to stumble. You're not going to make mistakes. You're not going to, darn it, Jess, you forgot to say that, or you said the wrong thing, or you made yourself look stupid, whatever. But you're replaying what you said, what you did, what the reactions of that person was, and saying to yourself, how can I do it better? What other questions could I have asked that would have maybe gotten a different result? So these are the things that successful business owners, consultants, people that are successful in anything, in sports and in any type of a craft that they do, skill that they have, surgeons. I'm going to show you another clip really fast because this gentleman actually talks about it better than I can. So I'm not even going to try to redo it. I'm going to go ahead and let him say it better than I can. So here we go. Go back down here. All right, and there we go. This name is John Kessel, and let me see where I wrote the notes about him. He's a coach for a basketball team, and he is very well known for having a very successful just team that's always growing and developing their business, business, their trade or craft in their sport. So here we go.
And so to that spirit and to the resources that they found in motor learning, specificity is perhaps the most important principle in the sport, or any sport, or even in motor learning. When I say motor learning, I often admire the people that are really good at motor learning. Surgeons, a very precise motor learning thing, which they, you could probably say the surgery teaches you the surgery. I mean, the great surgeons are good because they do surgery. They don't just start off for the first time in their life cutting open a human, but they do practice cutting, and then they do surgery on animals and things like that. And then they begin to observe surgery. In fact, I have a line that I love out of a resident that told me, we say in our residency, see one, do one, and then teach one. I think that's, to a degree, one of the holes in our teachings, that we think that you have to coach by somebody older or wiser perhaps than you, and we don't ever get a chance to do the same to our peers or to ourselves enough, because the coach is always the source of the answer.
Right.
And in that same related way, I think that since we know that which you teach you learn really well, in fact, I think we need to see more chances for kids to coach younger kids, even though they may be young themselves. And there's a video of that, the Thai 11 and under youth video that's on the USA Volleyball website under the.
Okay. So what he was talking about is how a surgeon doesn't just become a surgeon. You could come out of medical school and you just rip somebody open. It's about practice. They start on like a cadaver, and then they practice on animals, and then they go on a live body. So what we were talking about is, it's so much easier to learn by doing. And so there's so much that I can say, I can share with you with experience, but the way all of us are going to learn the most is by getting out there and trying it, doing it. I hear on a regular basis, like I said, people tell me I'm not going to do a home party. That's just not what I'm going to do. Ask yourself, why not? What is holding you back? What are your stipulations? Are they facts, or are they just beliefs? Examples of a belief is that I don't have the time. Now, if we in reality broke down an entire month and really wrote down all the tasks that you did, and we deleted the things that were actions and that you were putting into your daily schedule that do not have to happen. You know, I always use the example about, you know, watching your favorite episode. You know, I know that that's a downtime for a lot of us. Believe me, I love my shows and my movies, but that's not money-making activity, right? That's not going to get us on our cruise that we want to go to the Mediterranean, you know, sea with our spouse. That's not going to help us grow a team so we can actually, you know, have an income that we can rely on with Scentsy. So, but we have to know what our goals are and what is important to us, because if there's nothing that's really pulling us and really, we don't really have a real why that gets us emotional and we talk about it, you know, it's that television show is going to win, right? Instead of saying, you know what, I'll watch that later. I need to get this done first, and do hard things, right? Meaning, talk to that person that makes you, you know, your stomach turn when you think of actually picking up the phone and talking to them and asking them to host a party or to, you know, join your team or whatever that, you know, thing that's keeping you from really taking action, what's scaring you. The action is what's going to help you learn and grow from it and get better at it. Because the more we go back and not do it just because of fear and we're protecting ourselves from, you know, rejection, there's never we're not giving ourselves an opportunity to actually learn. And just like the surgeon, okay, well, I made an incision. Well, I made the incision 2 inches too far to the left. So, and the reason why I need to do it a little bit more to the right is because, you know, what I'm trying to get at is right below, and I had to work too hard to get to the heart or whatever. Same thing with us. You know, when I called this person to ask about hosting a party, what was my mood like? Was I, you know, upset because my kids just destroyed the downstairs, and then I went to go pick up the phone and to ask them to host a party? You know, would my delivery been a little bit better if I didn't just deal with something that made me upset? Probably. So what can I do next time? I can make sure that I'm in a good mood when I pick up the phone. So whatever comes at me, I'm not as sensitive, you know, because you're already like in a, those kids of mine, you know, and already upset, you know. So there's strategy that we can learn, and which just makes it a little bit easier and easier every time we do something. Now, will the human in us ever be deleted? No. Well, there's always going to be times that the nerves start pumping again, but it's not going to be as scary when we've actually taken the action before, because our brain remembers that, oh, I did this before, it was scary, but oh yeah, I'm still alive, and my house didn't crumble, and my kids didn't stop loving me, and my husband didn't leave me because the guy on the other end said no, right? So you have that brain memory of something that was scary, you still worked through it, and you still survived. So therefore you can do it again. Okay. So let's see, how am I on time? Okay, so we're almost done on time. So how can we put this into our business today? What is that? What are we putting into our business? Intentionality, being more intention in our business and in our life every day, and asking ourselves when we start to make a decision or an action, taking a step back and saying, am I responding in a fixed mindset way? And I'm acting, you know, because a response and an action are two different things. Is my actions more fixed, or is it more growing? Is my response more fixed or more growing? And that is how that's how you are actually tapping into your growth mindset, by distinguishing the difference, that there can be a difference with everything we do. So some intentional actions. I'd love, are you leaving? Oh, you're saying hi. Okay. I would love for anybody to come on, now that you've done the training, now that you've heard what I've had to say, you've listened to the videos, give me some examples of how you can utilize a growth mindset or an action with a growth mindset today, starting moving forward, opposed to how you you may have responded or acted in the past. Just for some ideas, if you can unmute yourself. I'd love to hear your ideas.
Hi, Jess. How are you?
I am great. How have you been, Brenda?
I've been good. I'm doing actually even a little better. Liz has been assisting me nicely, and she's actually putting me, she's taking me out of my cage.
Awesome. I love it.
So she's like, you know, it's on your workstation. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. So, you know, I'm lucky because Liz and I go way back. So we're able to talk like that. And she sort of helped me realize, and even though it was a little sad for me at the moment when I realized where she was going, or she didn't even intend for it to come out that way, but I put things off really, really bad. And you know, she asked me if I was going to do something, and I was like, wow, but I got to pick up Danielle. You know, just today I had my sponsee hit her 552 PRV. And when she first started, she was kind of struggling in life and in general and in many areas. And to see her come this far, and she's being really positive right now, and to be a part of that, it's awesome. So I think today, I mean, starting today, because I even told you that I was going to make packets the other day. I didn't do it. I put it off because I was watching my show.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of enough. So, I mean, it's like if you want to watch a show, stay up till midnight and watch it, you know, but make your list and do what you got to do. So for me, it's just going to be making a list and checking it off and doing what I got to do.
I love that. You know,
wish me luck.
Oh, absolutely. The mechanics of actually writing a list and checking it off has an actual psychological euphoric feeling for a lot of people because you feel accomplished. It automatically makes you feel like, you know what, I physically and mentally did something, and it builds the confidence. It you know, whether we realize it or not, you're like, I can do it because I did it. You know, I set out for a goal, and I not only intentionally tried to achieve it, but I did. And that physical check mark just goes, it just brings you to that. Oh, and it's almost euphoric as like an addiction of like, oh, I want to do that again. I want to feel that way again. And
it is.
You know,
she's been kind of like a mama, actually.
Yes.
Poor Liz.
Oh, I know. And we all go through that. You know, don't worry. We all go with it as a consultant. We all go through all the different phases as the sponsors. And it's all just the process that we all go through. And that's why I really emphasize on acknowledging the process that we go to. Praise the process, that you are telling yourself that you see the things that you were doing before, and that this is how you could do it differently, and where it's going to take you to the next step. And that's the process. That's the process that you need to praise yourself and congratulate yourself on, because it's getting you to another level on your mind as well as results in your business. And you may not see them right now, this day, but the consistency, and you're building the momentum. And I'm excited for you. That's
yeah, me too.
Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. It's always good to see you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so anybody else would like to share?
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Tammy.
Tammy, I got to go. I'm at my meeting and I have to go.
Oh.
But I thank you for the training.
All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay. Liz, are you there, or are you eating dinner? Oh, hold on. Let me unmute you.
I'm here.
There you are. Do you have any thoughts?
In the process of how Brenda shared about her having to, you know, put her priorities as far as like making the list and stuff, and I told her, I shared with her my struggles as well, so it wasn't just, you know, me telling her, well, you got to do this and you got to do this. And we both kind of have to keep ourselves accountable to each other. I said, I have a lot of things on my list I got to take care of, you know, but obviously some people are more disciplined than others, but there's still always room for improvement. I'm a perfect example of that. So
We all are.
Yeah. There's always room for improvement and putting, ever since like the middle of last week, I kept telling Troy, okay, and I told you too, I have to keep track of everything that I do and that way I can put in different increments of time for my business. Because there's so much that we want to do during the day. One, not only are we, we have our own business at home, but we have a home to take care of. We have a family to assist, as well as wanting to grow our teams and ourselves and find new ways and to, help our business grow and stuff. So it's definitely, I honestly feel like I'm getting back into the rhythm of things of how they were right before my dad died. So I'm like very busy and, I'm trying not to say no to things anymore. Like I just, instead of saying I can't do that because I have this XYZ to do, like this weekend I had an opportunity to do an event last minute. My girlfriend texted me Friday night or Thursday night. She said, oh, you can still come to the event if you want. It's from 2 to 4 at my apartment complex. And there was no cost. It was just a bunch of vendors getting together. And I know we had made lunch plans with Troy's friend from Missouri who was coming in, and we were going to meet at 12. Well, I had to make a decision whether, one, do I go to the lunch still and miss out on this event where I can possibly meet somebody, or two, do I try and ask his friend if we can meet an hour earlier, and then we take 2 cars and I skip out when I need to leave and get to the event. And that's what we wound up doing is we asked him to meet earlier, and I left there like at 1:20, and I made it like 5 minutes till the event started. I had a small, a very small setup, and I got 2 numbers from 2 people, sisters who want to join. So we're going to be meeting up, and I'm like, and I sold $30 in product, but that wouldn't have happened and it was just 2 hours that I was there, and it was free. So it's like, it was totally worth it.
So I want to point out a couple things that are so exciting. So one, we talked about how, everybody has different skills, and the person that's trying to learn from the other person that may have more skills or experience in one way, you always have something to contribute. And so Liz is learning from Brenda in other areas, and Brenda's learning from Liz in other areas, and she has more skills in one area and this and experience, and they're helping each other, which is awesome. That's the growing mindset on both ends. And then with you, Liz, this experience, a lot of people would say, I already have a commitment, and so that's that fixed, there's no bending. But instead, you had a growing mindset of said, okay, these are my situations. How can I make them work, if at all, to make them both work? And because you were able to step out of your box and look at, okay, I can move this appointment back, or I can at least see, you never know until you ask, if he can move back an hour, then you went even as far as, okay, then we're going, how am I going to get to this event if I go with my husband for this? So we're going to take 2 cars, and then we're going to go, then I will split off, and then we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So that's the way we work our businesses. That's how we make things happen. Instead of saying, I have a job that I work 8 to 5. Sorry. A lot of consultants that have a commitment from 8 to 5, they can say, well, I work from 8 to 5, but my hour-long or 30-minute lunch or 15-minute, break, I can call you, or I can, meet you at the Starbucks and deliver you the testers or pick up your order, instead of just saying, sorry, this is my box that I can't bend in. The growing mindset will find a way to make it happen. And so I hope you guys can use this example of Brenda's testimony, Liz's testimony, and see how, there's so many opportunities. So if you joined this training today and you found yourself more on a fixed mindset, one, I'm going to tell you, just by being on this call, you have more of a growing mindset than you think, because you are on the call because you think there's something you might be able to receive. So that is this exciting thing. Now, if you have somebody that's possibly maybe in your downline that you're like, they're never on these calls, it's never too late to say, hey, you know what? I watched this video and I learned a little something, and I just want to remind you that the recording is here so you can make some time to listen on your way to work, or while you're washing the kids in the bathtub, put it on in the speakerphone or whatever. There's always room. And here's the thing, if you're still thinking that you can't find time for your business after this call, reach out to your upline. And I am so sure that if we break down what your life is, what your schedule's like, that we will be able to give you examples of people that are as busy, if not more, some people that are less busy, how they make their business work. And you might be able to learn at least a couple different tips on how to give you more of a growing opportunity for your business to fit into your life. Okay, I'm so thankful for everybody that was able to show up live tonight. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing, everybody that did, and everybody that watched via recording. Any questions you have, just respond to the email. And like I said, you're sponsoring your upline. We're your best friends. We're a resource. We want your success. But the first key is that you have to want it first. And so we will invest as much as you invest in your business. Have a great and sensational month. We'll see you next month on the third Monday of the month. And don't forget about our Tuesday training calls from the home office, our Super Saturday calls every Saturday from our upline, Becca Levi. And we also have a first Wednesday of the month team meeting via it's live in Vegas, and we're trying to figure out the best way to make it work online. So thank you all for being patient with that. And there's tons of other training opportunities as well in the workstation and on YouTube and so on. So have a great day. Bye, guys.